You are not exhausted because you care too much. You are exhausted because you've disappeared inside caring for everyone else. Welcome to Midlife Butterfly for high-achieving midlife women ready to stop self-abandoning and feel alive again. I am Kenna's You Identity and Embodiment Guide, and here we explore self-remembrance, emotional truth, nervous system healing, and what it really means to come home to yourself. Inside this episode, you will discover why so many capable, successful women feel emotionally depleted even when they appear to have everything together. The subtle ways self-abandonment becomes woven into achievement, caregiving, and people-pleasing. What it actually looks like to reconnect with yourself gently, honestly, and safely without needing to become a completely different person. The exhaustion beneath the functioning. There is a kind of exhaustion that doesn't come from being busy. It comes from being emotionally disconnected from yourself for too long. Does this resonate? Because it's this kind of exhaustion that it doesn't matter if you rest, if you sleep well, that exhaustion is still there. Why? Because you want to be dependable of other people. You want to be always there for them, serve them, rescuing them. Right? You want to be the person who's capable of solving their problems or helping them at all times. Or probably, you are high functioning for your kids, for your parents, at work. And the thing is, you trying to hold all the things together all the time. It's freaking tiring. It is. So it is common that you feel this exhaustion because you are all the time overstimulated to whatever is happening out there because you're never taking time for yourself. You are so disconnected from who you are that what happens is you create resentment with other people because you are there for them all the time. And they might not be for you there. You do things and that in a way you might be looking for reciprocity, and when you don't get it, it's like you feel this kind of resentment. But if you think about it, it's like, who's really creating this situation? I'm sorry to tell you, or not sorry, but it's you. Because you want to be there all the time for everyone. And in a way, it's okay. But what happens is that if you don't take care of yourself first, that resentment, that tiredness, that sometimes frustration, it comes all together because you keep self-abandoning yourself. And it's funny because sometimes we as women, we kind of like praise about it, right? Oh no, I am such an easygoing. I am so accommodating. I'm super resilient. I love giving. Yes, that is wonderful. But at what price? A lot of women became experts at managing life. But at what cost? When you are abandoning yourself inside of that life that you're actually living. women are often taught to override themselves. Yeah, we do that so often that then that disconnection with the self starts becoming normal. And that's what your exhaustion is to a limit at this moment. That's why you might be so fed up with your life and with people around you and with any situation that is happening to you. Because some women haven't asked themselves how they actually feel in years. When was the last time you actually asked yourself, how do I feel? You usually just ask, okay, what does it need? What do you need to other people, but not to yourself? And that's the overexhaustion that you are having. Because when you're caring for everyone, when you are the last in the list, you get lost in there. And then it could also happen that you feel guilt when you know that you need that rest, when you know that you need that self-care moment during the day, during your week. Another thing that happens is that achievement can become a survival strategy. Does this sound familiar? uh, we're being taught to do all the time instead of being and being, which is more in our feminine energy. And that productivity, we really relate to that identity of being productive all the time. And then it comes this over functioning of everything that we have to do. And of course, all this we also related to achieving. Why? Because we take achievement as a safety place. Because when we achieved, we can feel accepted. We can feel that we belong. We can feel loved. For many women, achievement became the place they search for worth, control, approval, and safety. And that's what this exhaustion is not really a weakness. It's actually your body carrying years of emotional self-neglect because you are in this energy of productivity and achievement all the time that, of course, at all times, your nervous system is constantly, scanning for all these things out there or for the needs of other people, that eventually your own inner world becomes almost inaudible. Meaning, you are not able to hear your inner voice, that voice that is your soul, that is your intuition. And that's why your body tends to disconnect, because you're all the time in your mind and your nervous system is all the time in this fight and flight, that at one point it gets used to it, to those levels of fatigue, of anxiety, of numbness or irritability, Why? Because, you cannot be performing at all time. And the only way to stop it is by really taking care of yourself. Really, really taking care of yourself. And leave this survival strategy. Because the thing is, the more you connect with who you are, the more you start knowing who you are, the more you start accepting and understanding yourself, the more you care and the more love is gonna grow towards you. And instead of survival, you're gonna shift it for living. Living life, not surviving life. And that's what I believe, that this midlife period of time is, that sometimes we call a crisis. It's what we commonly call it, but it's really a calling. It's an awakening, because it's really an identity reclamation. After surviving for so many decades, after being in charge of so many people at the same time, and you being the last on the list, your soul is calling you back, women. She wants you back. And no wonder why you say, oh, something is wrong with me. Why can't I handle things the way I used to? Or you probably wonder, why do I suddenly feel so emotional? Or why am I questioning everything? And the answer to that is that the woman underneath the roles is finally asking to exist too. She wants to exist now. It's midlife. There's no more time to waste. And this time, when we feel that offness of our own identity, sometimes you might feel that there is like grief coming up, or longing, or the need to speak your truth, to live your truth. Or sometimes there's a lot of anger and frustration surfacing, and this exhaustion that you've been going through. All this that you might feeling is actually information. It's information. Because midlife is not about becoming someone new, not at all. You are beautiful as you are. It's about reconnecting with who you were before this survival became your personality. And sometimes this exhaustion is really the soul asking for honesty. Because your soul wants to know, okay, who are you truly? Who are you truly? And sometimes we have issues answering this question. It's like, who am I? I don't know. Why? Because we get lost with all the roles and all the labels and all the hats that we get to wear during 2, 3, 4, 5 decades. Who knows? So my invitation for you is just listen. Listen. Be aware of what your body and your mind are trying to tell you. Do not ignore it. Do not ignore it, because Sometimes when your body, you have a bit of a pain somewhere, your body is calling you for attention. There's something in there. And if you don't take the time to listen to it, to slow down, it might come a moment when your body is actually going to scream at you. And when that moment arrives, oof, it's fucking painful. It can be very, very painful. When you really listen to what your body is telling you, to what your mind is telling you, but from that voice of your intuition, of your soul, not the voice of the critical ego or the logic mind. When you really listen to that voice, you're gonna be guided home. Meaning that home that is within you. Because home is not a place, it's a feeling. It is a feeling. And the more you are tuned with yourself, with who you truly are, when you really come into this space of being calm within, with your nervous system, that's how you're gonna feel safe and embodied. That's whenever you choose to actually rest, you don't have to excuse yourself for doing that. And then, allowing your body to have preferences, not to limit it to whatever else or whoever else are saying. Because your body is here to express in many different ways. When you come home to yourself, you speak more honestly because you know who you are. You know what you want. And you know what you don't want, right? So only when you tune in more, and it's step by step, okay? It's moment by moment. That's the only way. It's not a jump, because your life is built in habits. So it means that what can you shift in those little habits every day so you are able to come a little bit closer and closer and closer to your true self. Because aliveness for this beautiful life that you are experiencing returns when you stop abandoning your own experience. Because if you want it or not, this is your experience at this moment. So what is it that you can shift for you to improve that experience? Is it a boundary that you need to set? Is it a self-care practice that you can implement in your day-to-day? Is it a conversation that you gotta have with someone or even with yourself? Those are the things that you get to do every day to really rebuild that trust with yourself. So really start noticing. start noticing during your day, like, okay, oh, this is causing me like a contraction in my chest. Oh, this is giving me this tension in my shoulders. Oh shit, I say yes and I really wanted to say no. What are those little moments that you can notice during your day to really put attention with what is in there calling you? Because each of those moments, probably the beginning is what I mean, like, you're gonna be like, okay, oof, this is happening. Oh, I'm repeating this pattern again. Things like that. But the more awareness you can have and start kind of like planning actually in advance, what can you do instead of it? Right? What I mean with this is, let's say you are people pleasing someone and you say, oh, I'm pleasing this person again. Okay, practice. Just think about, okay, what can you do next time to actually set a boundary over there? This is what I mean. So start honoring yourself. Stop overriding yourself. Because every time you do it, your nervous system is gonna feel calmer. And that overexhaustion that you have at this moment is gonna start to slow down. And I have a practice for you today. It's about taking a self-abandonment pause. So this week, notice one moment each day. I just talk about this, where you are actually automatically move into the performance mode. Meaning when you are helping or fixing or managing, pleasing, over-explaining, pushing through, or anything else that you might usually tend to do, just pause. Pause right there. Put a hand on your chest or your stomach and just connect with your breath. Connect with it. You can breathe in through your nose and exhale through your mouth, relaxing the body as much as possible. And there you can ask, what am I actually feeling right now? What do I need in this moment? What am I overriding? What will feel more honest now? And when you are in that breath, in that stillness, notice also, how is your breath? Is it deep? Is it shallow? Is there tension in your jaw? Is there tightness in your chest? Are you going through emotional numbness? Because awareness is where self-return begins. That awareness is how you come back to yourself. Remember that it is your birthright to feel alive inside your own life. And I'm going to repeat this. Remember that it is your birthright to feel alive inside your own life. You deserve it. You are here to live, not to survive. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much for being here in Midlife Butterfly. And today we explore why so many high-achieving women feel emotionally exhausted, and how that exhaustion is often connected to years of self-abandonment hidden underneath capability, caregiving, and overfunctioning. These are the key reminders. Self-abandonment can look highly successful. Achievement often becomes emotional armor. The nervous system keeps score. Midlife surfaces what has been suppressed. Exhaustion carries wisdom. Reconnecting with yourselves begins through honesty, embodiment, and safety. And as a final reflection, coming home to yourself rarely happens all at once. It happens moment by moment, every time you stop leaving yourself behind. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to follow the Midlife Butterfly podcast on whatever platform you're listening on. Apple, Spotify, or whatever you tune in. Just click the follow button so you're notified whenever a new episode drops. And here is a coming home question for reflection. Where in your life have you become emotionally absent from yourself? Thank you for being here. It's a pleasure having you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy. And I hope to see you in the next episode or the previous episodes. Take care and much love as usual.